the 51st episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the first full week of July 2011. This episode is titled Take That! CloudFocus Weekly sponsored by Arkus, cloud computing experts. I'm your host, Jason Atwood, who just surprised my co-host, Justin Edelstein, with the pronunciation of our title.
Yeah.
Do you want to know why?
That was like a quadruple shot of espresso, right?
It was. Well, because everything that's on our agenda is sort of one company's coming back to another company.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
It is like a take that.
Yeah.
Hey, you, take that.
Take that.
Take
so,
this.
Speaking of our agenda, we're talking about Amazon Cloud Drive updates, Facebook doing video chat, Google talking about how many users they're attracting, businesses they're attracting, and then maybe some other Google Plus. Is Google Plus for Business a real thing, or can it happen?
Google Plus has been just all over the place in the last week. I like on Facebook. I liked the Google Plus tips and tricks page.
Yeah.
So my entire feed is filled with Google Plus news, tips, tricks, what have you.
But now on
Facebook. Yeah, it's a little.
All right. Well, we'll break into that, and then of course we'll do our CloudFocus app pick of the week. We'll see who copied who. So start us off with first one of Take That, which is Amazon doing a little Take That to Apple by saying that they're upping their cloud drive. So Apple released didn't actually release, but talked about their new service, which is going to be their cloud iTunes, which it'll do an iTunes match.
Speaking of which,
yes.
Just to take us off track just a little,
let's do
we have a short
agenda.
Rat hole. We have a short agenda. The first part of the iCloud is out because yesterday I downloaded a couple of applications on my iPad.
Right.
And then I turned on my iPhone, or I didn't turn it on, I just, looked at my iPhone and the apps were there.
Right. We did that 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago.
But
I showed you that you could download the
I hadn't realized that this was going on with it. Just was there.
And I talked about how I bought an album and I was watching both my iPhone.
This wasn't
and
an
iPad.
album. It was an app.
Yeah.
And I didn't purchase. They were free apps. I downloaded them on my iPad, and then they ended up on my iPhone because they were universal. It was.
I
actually didn't like it because I didn't want them there. They screwed up my foldering system.
We just delete
one.
Well,
I mean, but they were just floating, and it sort of bothered me.
Well, they shouldn't go someplace because that would be weird.
Well, I know, but they were floating. They were floating, and they bothered me.
Here's what I want. Here's if Apple's paying attention, because I know they all listen to this podcast.
Yeah, I mean they do for patents and whatnot.
I want the ability to set a folder. If I set a folder called Productivity on my iPad, and I put Evernote, and I put a link to Google Wave in it, I want that same thing to happen on my iPhone.
Yeah, me too.
Because I spend a little bit controlling. I spend some of my time coordinating. Because when I look at it, I'm looking at the other device and going,
I do the same exact thing. I have many apps on both devices, but my iPad only has 2 pages and my iPhone only has 3 pages.
Right.
Because they're all in folders.
And have you matched them up?
They're all named the same thing, and the apps are in the same places. They're not necessarily. I mean, the homepage on the iPad's bigger than the homepage on the phone, so it has more items on it.
Right.
But anyway, back.
All right. So
back to the story. Amazon. So Amazon's doing They're doing 2 things. They have released a player for the iPad, an app.
Have not tried it.
Have not
it's
either,
not an app.
because it's not an app. It's a page.
It's a page
optimized for the iPad.
That's right. There's no.
Why am I reading app? iPad version of Cloud Player for web.
Yes.
I guess that means web page.
Yes,
okay.
That means web page.
And secondly, if you are a customer of the unlimited, or not the unlimited, but a storage plan. I think the $20 storage plan.
Right.
For the cloud drive, you get unlimited storage space for music. So the music doesn't really, I don't know if it doesn't count against your cap, which is how I assume that they're doing it. Because I can't see them saying you have unlimited storage for music, and you have 60 gigs up there, and it takes up up to your 20 gig cap, and you're like, oh, you have no more room for anything else. But we gave you 60 gigs. Can't see it working that way.
Well, I think it's interesting. Love that it's a fight.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a fight.
Do it. Give us
out of
more
all
space.
The cloud players, Amazon's, in my personal opinion, is the worst.
As far as music is concerned.
As far as music is concerned, as far as finding it, operating it, working it, it gets a leg up over Google, and then Google doesn't sell music. Amazon does.
Right.
But Amazon navigation, and they have so much stuff going on, and I love Amazon, and I just basically use their search. But when you got to use their apps, it's just all over the place. So we'll see. I like it. Like that they're doing that. Clearly, again, a shot at Apple and Google in some ways, because Google's is unlimited right now. You don't know how much it's going to cost. Now, I have uploaded 10,000 songs so far.
I have 12.
12,000?
12 songs.
12 songs uploaded.
Well, I never actually did it while my machine was connected to where my music actually sits.
Right.
So there were 12 tracks on my actual machine, and all 12 went up.
Yeah,
actually, no, that's not true. I have 12, but like 5 of them didn't go. It didn't want 5 of them. So I was like, oh, great. So 5 out of 17 won't go. I have thousands. I'm not plugging this thing in.
But both of these things, and this is nice because I don't think Google Music works in the iPad. So this is the first one to work on the iPad. So this actually might make me go, all right, fine. Since I've uploaded to Google,
let me throw it everywhere.
I'm going to throw it everywhere. And if I can get to it, the only thing it starts to lose is if I rate one on one system, it's not rated on another. If I listen to it, I always love that about iTunes, is you can go get a list of like how many times you've listened to something.
Yeah, I like that.
But now that kind of breaks this model. So
will that sync over the air, I wonder?
What, in iTunes world? We'll see.
I hope so.
These are all questions. So that's good. Interesting stuff on the cloud.
So yeah, the
Drive.
pricing, right? $20 is the lowest price for the Cloud Drive, which then enables you to give unlimited music. 5 gigs for free. Right. iTunes or iCloud will give you 5 gigs for free, but not sure what that is for. It's not music. It's for other stuff.
For your documents, your docs, your calendar, your contacts, whatever.
And email. Then the $25 a year match.
$24.99. Well, no, you're forgetting whatever you've bought in iTunes, free storage. Same thing with cloud. Same thing with Amazon. Anything you bought in Amazon world,
doesn't
is
count.
Free storage. Doesn't count against the cap.
Right.
But then, so basically, it's a $5
we're
difference.
We're talking about like a sports, like the cap.
It is a little bit. It's $5 difference between Amazon, which is saying all your music belong to us, and then iTunes saying the same thing, which is a $5 difference. The real big difference, I think, between the two services right now, well, 3 maybe. Amazon has lower prices, but not as much music. Doesn't sync to your other devices. iCloud will sync automatically as you buy things across, but doesn't have any streaming. So they're coming together. I just can't imagine that iTunes isn't going to release some sort of streaming thing. All right, let's move off music for a while. Let's talk about chat. So in another take,
not chatter.
In another take that. Facebook had a big announcement, of which many are coming. Apparently, there's their HTML thing called Project Spartan. There's a new iPad app, which they've been working on for a while.
Can't wait for that.
I can't.
That's going to be great.
I don't.
I use my pad, but I want the real one.
I guess. I don't.
Because I really only use Facebook on my phone.
But why would you use it on your iPad anymore if you had it on your iPad?
Well, because I really very rarely, if ever, go to Facebook.com. But if it's an app, I'm more likely to go to it.
So you just dropped a link on your homepage. You go to it more often?
No, I don't. If it behaved like an iPad app, I would.
Yeah.
There are certain behaviors, like with the built-in apps, that are really, really just better experiences than what it can do. Even though the browser experience is really good, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not a
links are small.
Yeah, the hovers don't always work.
Right.
Just things don't always work the way that you want them to work.
It's an interesting question. Would you rather them spend the time and energy to make websites work well just natively on it? Like Google just released their new mobile app for their mobile version, and it looks and feels like an iPhone app. Everything's big. There's icons. You click it. You can swipe down to grab stuff. They have some amazing stuff.
Yeah. I prefer apps.
I do too. I think it's
like
just
I don't go to, for example, I don't go to. I know we're going down another rat hole, but I don't go to IMDb on my iPad or on my iPhone. I go to the IMDb app. Now, what is the IMDb app? It's an app that has the data from the website, imdb.com. But I don't go to the website.
But it's definitely organized better. I use the IMDb app all the time, and it's definitely organized better, and kind of you can navigate, and lots more pictures.
I never go to like Twitter.com. I use the Twitter app.
Right.
But again, I don't even go to Twitter.com on my laptop. I use the app. But anyway, I like apps. So video calling, Facebook. Video calling and group chat.
I went to try to. So obviously, this is a big take that to Google, who will release Google Plus with what I think they're calling Hangouts.
Which I tried and nobody joined.
No one wanted to hang out.
Because you got to be like, it's got to be one of those things where, you know, you start to hang out, and this was when I did it last week. Maybe it's changed since then. But I started to hang out, invited a circle, which was my Arkus circle.
Right.
So, you know, a bunch of you guys from Arkus. And nobody was, like, on Google Plus at the time.
Right.
So it didn't show up in your stream for you to pop up and jump in. So I haven't really experienced either of these things.
And I don't know where it shows up in my stream, even if it
Well,
were.
I think it would just show up in your stream and it'd be like, Justin invited you to a hangout. It's open. It's there.
I guess.
We can try it. We can
I
try
guess.
it on the podcast.
Let's not do that.
Okay.
But anyway, so in Facebook has launched theirs. Now their chat's built right in. It's right
Yes.
there on the thing.
And it has been for a while.
Yeah, and for years. It'll sign you in automatically, which I actually had mostly turned off. But now video chat, which I wasn't able to enable. I tried to find out where to enable it. I couldn't figure it out. I spent like 5 minutes.
It's supposed to be very simple. I haven't.
But it's powered by Skype.
Correct. A plugin.
So instead of having them go ahead and buy another, or build it themselves, because video codecs and all that's kind of difficult, they decided to partner with Skype,
Right.
which is now owned by Microsoft. So that all kind of gets weird. I don't know. I know the deal was in advance of the Microsoft. It was probably they were working on it. But now we have Facebook working with Microsoft and cats and dogs living together.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I feel like they're diametrically opposed.
Yeah, but I use Microsoft Office on my Apple laptop.
And it doesn't like it.
It works.
So haven't tried it, but interesting. Was it something you'd use?
No, because I don't use chat on Facebook ever. I only really video chat with you guys in Arkus.
Yeah, I use it much more professionally than I do.
Way more as a professional thing than a play around thing. Chat.
But
it's odd because you have so many Facebook friends that they're not really the people that I necessarily want to chat
well,
with.
you can turn. It's very granular. You can turn people on or off. You can show people. I think now though, because I like using chat to talk to people because it's even here we'll do it. If someone's working from home, we'll just instead of chatting, we'll hit up a video chat.
Yes,
it's just easier to see somebody and
it's a free phone call.
I then think that this will be interesting because I'll now think about, well, I might not have signed into chat before, but I might sign into chat now if there was some friend, that I hadn't really seen in a while and I could actually do a video chat with them. Video chat, the problem with video chat has been in the past, it's like, well, what should we use? Well, do you have iChat? No, I don't have iChat. Do you have Jabber? No, what's Jabber? No, I don't have that. Do you have Skype?
It's still the same problem. It's just another one now.
No, well, it's Facebook. And Facebook is pretty ubiquitous. Everybody has Facebook. Like, very few people don't have Facebook. I met another couple this last weekend who said that they're not.
There are people that are opposed to Facebook.
I agree, but of the people that I would think about talking to, friends, family, whatever, most of them have Facebook, as opposed to iChat accounts or Jabber accounts.
It's not really an iChat account.
Or Skype accounts.
An account that iChat uses. You don't really have an iChat account.
Well, yeah, you have a Mobile Me account that allows you to sign in and use iChat as well. iChat then goes into other services like AIM. But you remember, everybody used to have AIM. It's an AOL.
Still have AIM. I still have an AOL account.
And you still log into it?
No, but it's in my iChat. If I want to pull that window up, I can.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I think this kind of brings chat and video chat back a little bit more, and I think more people will use it, and it'll be more.
People use Google Chat a lot too, because if you're logged into Gmail, it's there.
Again, the amount of people that I know that actually use Gmail, the web app, versus the people who use.
I think most people use Gmail, the web app. I think you're mistaken on that one.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I do.
No, yeah, I agree. I think people do, but I don't know people who do that. People they just don't use the web apps. I don't know.
I think most people use email on web apps, and you're just in a little cocoon with that one because you've been using email clients for years.
And they work better.
They work great, but I think most people use the web apps for that stuff.
I will say this is not as most interesting as what I think they're coming up with in the future. But I thought the most interesting thing, kind of as a side, Facebook, is that the most followed person on Google Plus is
Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Well, there are some differences, though, just to go back real quick.
Sure.
Facebook So they were getting, a question dinged a little like, hey, Google came out with this a week ago, and they can do multi-person video chats, and they do it really well, supposedly. Again, I haven't really gotten the chance to use it, but like they put you in the main window if you're talking, and then if someone else talks, it like flips them to the main window, that kind of thing. And Facebook, or Mark Zuckerberg, during his press conference where he was going to announce something awesome, and people just flocked to it. He said, look, for now we're doing this one-to-one. We think that's the majority of what people do, and I would tend to agree with him. And we think it's pretty awesome. And they're using Skype, and Skype does support the one-to-one. They also do support multi-person conversations, but one of the people in the multi needs to have the premium account.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like someone in that Skype call needs to have like the $4.99 Skype premium or whatever it is. In order
now, is this just video, or they can do audio too?
Well, if you're doing video, you're doing audio.
No, but in Skype,
you mean audio only?
Yeah, Skype and iChat and Jabber.
Yeah, they all do the audio only.
You can do audio only, which is a very quick way to do a phone call.
Just a phone call. We do it all the time. When someone's working from home, or two people are working from home, or whatever, we always jump on. But anyway, we actually used to do the podcast over Skype.
Yes, we did.
Until we got the snowball.
All right, so Facebook, video chat, and group chat. I think it brings relevance. It brings relevance back to video chat a little bit with those two players getting in and saying these are things that are kind of
they're not really
built in.
Google, in all fairness, is not getting in. They've been in, but Google Talk has been in. But as the amount of people have tried to video chat me over Google Talk, like everybody goes to Skype. That I know says, oh, let's just use Skype. The people I know who use it internationally to make calls use Skype. I don't know people who use Google Talk to do that. But with Google Talk being part of a social network now, interesting stuff. Well, you and I always use Google Talk.
We use it through iChat, yeah. Yes.
But the service is Google.
You don't have to. We could use
Bonjour.
Yes, we could. All right, so third item, which I think is, out of all of these, I think is the most interesting, sort of a double Google. So this, I think, is a take that on Microsoft releasing 365, saying, "Hey, listen, we have a competitor to Google Apps now. People will like it. They say it's polished.
We talked about it last week. Haven't gone back since.
Yeah,
wasn't worth it. Just wasn't.
It's not because we don't own it. I think if we were looking right now to purchase A or B, and we were a big Microsoft shop, I think it would make a much easier discussion. We are not a big Microsoft shop. We're a Mac shop only. But we're coming from all XP across the board, and we're looking at hiring new people and putting them on. I could see us saying, "Hey, let's take a serious look at it."
Yeah,
but we're not switching at this point.
We only took a look really for the podcast and for general awareness of what's going on.
We try to. So this story, actually up on Computer World UK. I'm sure it's other places, but in part of their announcements, they announced that.
They being Google,
is that they said we have over 3,000 companies a day moving into the cloud. The adoption of the cloud is accelerating. Now, he was talking about business accounts and businesses. So, companies, 3,000 companies a day moving on to...
That's a lot.
I feel like that's a lot of people signing up.
I feel like you're going to run out of companies in a while. Next year, they'll be like, we're out of companies. Every company in the world.
I think a lot of people sign up for it, and you can use the free version for a while.
Up to 10 people can be free.
Interesting. That's a big number, and it's certainly a.
I wonder if it counts like one-person shops, two-people shops, or like the guy in accounting at the 4,000-person shop that just signs himself up. Or like 4,000 companies. It's like one person at a 4,000-person company.
Sure. I mean, how many people? I'd love to know how many people, or what the scale of how many people have rolled out multiple, like hundreds of people and use Google Apps as their entire productivity suite or their entire Office suite, right? From soup to nuts, from email to docs to sheets.
You don't get Microsoft Office on your computer.
That would be interesting to me. It kind of goes in the face of talking about the Chromebook, which I haven't heard much about Chromebook. We even said we wanted one, then we went to buy one, and we're like,
it's out, and we didn't get one. We should get one.
Should get one, but I don't.
Just get one for the office, just to like play with it and do a review for the podcast.
Then let's just send it back.
Oh, yeah, whatever. We'll raffle it. We'll raffle it off at Dreamforce or something.
There you go. There's a good. There's a contest.
Hey, who wants that? Let us know.
Let us know. So, again, we use Google Apps. It's a good product. I don't know. I 3,000 a day. I feel like that's a lot of test people. A lot of test people showing up. But
sure.
If we're saying it's the cloud and the cloud is what's doing, then all right, fine. I'll take it and I'll like it.
Well, it's cheap, and it's good for collaboration. It is a good collaborative suite of products.
Yeah.
Especially when you have, the ability to single sign on to things. It gives you that, right? Single sign on is a tough thing to do.
Yep.
When it's all built in, it's nice. You get your apps, you get Docs, you get Google Wave.
I already said it.
Damn.
What I do like, though, and we have a couple customers who use it as well, and they'll say, I'm in this sheet, I'm building this, and I say, oh, just share it with me. And when I actually watched them do it, I watched them share it with me and pick read only so I could read only. Then I went to invite another member of Arkus, and it said, you can't invite somebody, but you can ask the person to be invited. I thought, oh, that works. That works.
Sharing calendars, all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah. So it's interesting. 3,000 businesses, it seems like a lot, even for me.
It does. Per day, that is a lot.
And speaking of businesses, is Google Plus for businesses?
Not yet. Google has revealed that it's working on a Google Plus experience for businesses and have asked businesses or brands to not create profiles just yet, because they're going to come out with something that's going to build in features that businesses might like analytics, like Google Analytics.
Yep.
Just leverage some of the things that they would imagine a brand would want to have as part of their Google Plus experience, which to me means they're working on some sort of ad model. Because I have to imagine that when you roll this out for businesses, they're going to be able to buy stuff too.
Right.
Like ads. And be able to track who's looking at their ads and be able to pinpoint location-based, show up in these news streams that are interested in these topics and are within a 50-mile radius of this.
I think this is the thing that Google has that both Facebook doesn't have and that the Office suite doesn't have, and that they're bringing them together, that even people like Chatter or like Salesforce are going to worry about, is that Google, if you have a Google Docs account, right? So you have Google Docs for Business, these 3,000 people a day, they turn on Google Plus. They make it a little slider switch that you can turn on for your entire organization. You all of a sudden can do this private Chatter collaborative environment. You can set up your pages like they then
videos with YouTube.
You're single signed in.
All the services.
They do. They're not really well tied together.
No, but they're there.
They
just need someone to come in with a lasso and say, and speak. I mean, they're retiring brands. I mean, they're retiring Picasa. They're renaming, but they're retiring the brand.
Yeah, well,
Picasa,
they're
Blogger,
both bought.
So they're gonna rename them and in conjunction with
Google Photos and Google Blogs.
Right, that's what it should be.
It should be.
Well, it was like Blogspot forever. My first blog was something.blogspot.com.
Yeah.
Years and years ago.
But I think this is the thing that if I were Salesforce, and throw a little Salesforce news into the story, if I were Salesforce looking at Google Plus, companies aren't going to put all their people on the Facebook and say that's the way you collaborate.
No.
Internally, right? That's not going to happen.
Not good.
And they wouldn't want it.
No.
Chatter, or Salesforce is saying, Chatter is the way for you to collaborate internally and be safe, right? And yes, you can have things that are on Facebook, but that's sort of separate from Chatter. Chatter is internal only. Google Plus for Businesses says, hey, listen, you guys are already signed into your Docs and your Gmail all the time, or your Google Mail through your Google Apps. Now there's just another little button up there, and you have all this internal collaboration that you can do with internal profiles, with internal pages, with follows and topics and search and all the stuff that Chatter brings. Google can just turn it on, and then all those millions or thousands of people a day, they get it. I think it then, I'm not going to say it hurts Salesforce in the short run, but in the long run, you're starting to pick where am I going to put my, if collaborative and social if collaborative and social are going towards the businesses, and that's the big push, and that's what Salesforce or Mark Benioff says, this is Google saying, yeah, we think so too, and we're going to be right there in the mix.
Well, thinking of this, we're obviously theorizing, but it could be a chatter.com killer, but I don't think it kills like Chatter itself, because Chatter itself is on top of all that rich business data that you're interacting with in the first place.
I don't think it kills it. All right, go ahead.
What I could see happening is more niche players like a Yammer disappearing, and I can see like Salesforce and Google integrating the services, because they try sometimes, and I could see it happening where Google's, they're probably a ways off from having this be enterprise service ready. We talked about it last week. Hey, this could be interesting in the enterprise.
I think 6 months. My prediction is 6 months.
If they did it, yeah. I could see them doing a Chatter interface. I mean, they're both web service enabled. Let's try and pull these two things together.
Yes.
So that you don't have to be in both places. You could be in one place or the other and interact with both.
But as a company, as the CIO or CTO of a company, and you're looking at all your different tools and the things you can roll out, what you probably don't want to do is roll out 2 internal social networking tools to your company. Right. You probably want to roll out 1. And if you had both Salesforce, I'm saying, here's an example. You have both Salesforce and Google Apps, and they both work. They both are fine. And you're choosing them to say, which one are we going to, we're only going to, I don't want everybody having to update 2 profiles. And I don't actually see Google and Salesforce working together on this one. I can see someone else doing it, an Apereo or whatever, coming out with some sort of sync. Basic sync, like you post a chatter and you can post it to your Google Plus enterprise account, maybe. But things like Google Talk integration, well, now Google Talk and video chat and all that it's on the Google side. I don't know. I think they're the circles, the social circles of Google and Salesforce are now starting to. First, they had the marketplace. Salesforce has always stayed away from email, and Google's always basically stayed away from contacts. I mean, their contacts are bogus, right? Their contact thing. They're starting to sort of circle over each other, and I think probably it's going to get worse before it gets better. But anyway, interesting stuff that might or might not happen. I predict within 6 months.
Prognostication. I would say Google Plus for the enterprise is a fantastic idea, and that they should release it sooner than later.
Well, give me a prediction.
I think you're right on. 6 months. 6 months to a year.
So Google Plus, the full service for everybody, is supposed to be launching within a month. So they're going to open it up to everybody.
I mean, once it's open to everybody, it's a production service. It's the same thing. I mean, I know the Google Apps accounts are slightly different than like just your regular Google profile account.
Right, and there's so
you
much
don't really
you can't
have
do
like
under
the
them.
profile necessarily and things of that nature. But I mean, the service itself is production ready, right? At that point, when it gets released to potentially millions and millions and millions of people. So,
quick, another rat hole. Does Google Plus for the enterprise replace any of what's of Wave lost?
Some, but not all. I mean, Wave is just such a fantastic real-time collaborative environment.
Think there's real-time based in Google Plus?
No, I don't think you see things as they're typing. Maybe if it had like good pages that could do things like that, maybe where it turns into like a wiki of sorts. But I don't know. I don't really see it. I think Wave is just so great that I don't see anything replacing it. Like when we first were very upset about Wave going away, and we were on the Save Google Wave bandwagon, and people would tweet back at me and be like, just use Chatter, and I'd be like, no, you don't get it. No. You don't get it. It's not even close to the same thing. Chatter's great. It does what it does. But Google Wave they're not even on the same wavelength. They're not the same thing at all. They're totally different things.
If you could if you build stuff into Chatter to do it, the more, again, the big thing that no one gets is sort of the real-time nature.
Yeah, I mean, there's a streaming API now, but I don't think it does that. I think it does more like, the like asynchronous data pulling and pushing, where like Twitter type things come in as they come in, that kind of thing for Chatter feeds. But I don't think people really really get what Wave can do until you start using it.
Salesforce doesn't even have awareness. They don't even have, I know it's been asked for a million times, but they don't even have, it's one of the biggest asks. Show me who's online in Salesforce.
Right.
Show me who's currently online using Salesforce. Not through Google Talk, right, the little G chat thing, but literally go to a Pages page. Instead of seeing Pages with put a little green icon if they've been logged in or are logged in right now. You know, build in chat. I don't know, these stuff are going to come, but that's the collaborative real-time nature of Wave that just isn't anywhere else. Plus the permanency of the conversation as opposed to chatter, which is not permanent or goes away. So, having said that, let's get to our CloudFocus app pick of the week. No one can pick Google Plus or Facebook Video or Cloud Drive.
So, going on the title of our pod this week.
Take that. Uh-huh.
I saw in the Wave what you were picking.
This is why I don't put my Wave pick, by the way, until after yours. And sometimes not until right minute, because you'll go start to look at it. And
I saw what you were picking.
Curious George
and
here.
And the only reason why you put it up there is because I noticed yesterday you sent me something from it.
Not even true.
And I said, what is this thing?
I put it into, as I was using it last night, I put mine into OmniFocus.
Okay.
No, I put it in OmniFocus as one of my picks.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, so I saw what you were doing, so I was going to do the Take That.
Okay.
So my pick is an iPad app that most people are probably already using. It's a social, I think it's a pretty big app, called Flipboard.
Okay.
It's a social news aggregation service or system that when you're on your iPad, you can kind of flip through different topics and categories of news, and you get to pick what you want in different like squares and items like sports, science, lifestyle. They have some like, you know, Oprah, like they have some of those.
Right.
And then you can also sign into your Facebook account and your Twitter account, and it will pull in like tweets with links to news stories, and will display them in a magazine style format. And you can just sort of, it's called Flipbook because I'm using my finger. I'm flipping through the pages of the magazine, and it tells you where it came from. This came from Twitter from Jason M. Atwood.
Right.
And I can see the link, and it brings up the page, and then I can retweet it from there, comment on it, or things from Facebook do the same thing. Pretty cool little app for discovering news. I find less and less I go to my Google Reader these days. I go to my Flipboard, I go to my Twitter feed, I go to my Facebook feed. I don't really go to my Google Reader anymore.
That's interesting. I have another pick that I'll talk about maybe next week. It was a little bit too much Mac stuff, so I kind of wanted to go off that for a second. Although now I'm doing it. But Flipboard came out. It has tons of funding. It's nice. I really like it. Although I find I think it's better for the social stuff.
Yeah, it's really cool for the social
because you put in
stuff.
your Facebook account and your Twitter account, and then you can, or other people's or feeds. But then it's sort of nice to treat Facebook like a book, and you can just literally flip through, and it'll rearrange every page based on what kind of data is there. So like, might put a picture on one side, then down the left side it'll put a bunch of different status updates.
Yep.
Then it'll put the article, and then you can click to get the article right inside. You don't have to leave. Really well done. I mean, they're blowing up. I don't know how many people know about them, but anyway, Flipboard,
free. It's an iPad app. Works on the iPad and iPad 2, both of them.
Good.
Because I only have the first one. And you can go to flipboard.com or search through the App Store
for
and
Flipboard.
find it.
Yep. Mine, since you are doing copying me, Take That is called Zeit. And clearly, you saw it because I zited you an article last night.
You did.
I don't actually read. I don't read any magazines. I don't read any newspapers. Any kind of paper product. I generally don't. In fact, I could throw away every one of my books and be perfectly happy. I've got it all on the iPad.
I have about 6 books. I could throw them all out.
Yeah. So I love the idea of magazines on the iPad, and I've tried a couple of them, and they're okay. Zeit was sort of like, it was a answer to Flipboard, but saying we're not going to go and get a bunch of you're not going to put into Facebook or Twitter. The problem with Facebook or Twitter is generally the content's all over the place, right? Okay, you go into your Facebook feed, and then it's, there's a kid's birthday, and then there's someone partying, and then someone posts an article about Obama, and it's like, it's all over the place. And it's not necessarily easy to read. And something we've talked about Google Reader, the reason we liked Google Reader was, if I want to focus in on all Salesforce news, I put it into a folder, and then I can just read the Salesforce news, and it gets me thinking about that, and I'm reading it with one context. I rarely read my my Google Reader of the hundreds and hundreds of items and in all of it all at once, because it would be like, it'd be like some sort of weird blog, and then it would be some sort of fun other blog, and then it might be like Membase or Rage Comics or something. I mean, it would be all, and then be a Force.com article, then it'd be a chat. I mean, it would be hard to do. But anyway, Zeit takes that same concept but says you don't have to know anything or know anybody who's posting or tweeting good stuff. Just sign up, just download Zeit, it's free on the iPad. And then it gives you categories. It says, what are you interested in? And in the first page, there's like 20-something categories, and you just select them. So I selected Mac, and I selected Salesforce, and I selected. You can search.
Salesforce was on the.
You can
front
search
page?
for no. You can search for stuff.
Oh, okay.
I guess I did like technology, entrepreneurship, finance, and then they're really just categories,
Comic
topics,
books.
areas. I didn't do comic books.
Oh, okay.
That's a whole nother. There's a whole nother 5 or 6 apps for that. And then you click on the side, and then it does very much like Flipboard, but does
Sounds a lot like Flipboard.
but
so
does
far.
it with reader stuff. It pulls in articles that are based on that, and then you can. But unlike Flipboard, you then say, I like this type of article from this, like I
And
like
it
this
learns?
Engadget, and it'll start to learn and
like
build
Pandora.
kind of like Pandora for news. And so then your topic will then get smarter and smarter. So like my Mac
like
topic,
that. I like that a lot.
And again,
I might have to download this one.
and you're in a topic area. So when you're flipping through Mac news, it's like, oh, Mac news. It's not like Mac news, oh, my friend's baby pictures, oh, something else. It's just Mac news. Then you flip out and say, oh, I want to go read about, gadgets. And so
Does it have the social stuff, though? Like, can I log into my Twitter and tweet stuff from it?
I did tweet
Will
from
it
last
bring
night.
in news from, like, my Twitter feed? Because that's the part I love about Flipboard is that I
don't think they're getting that space
read my
because-
Twitter feed in a very different way.
Right.
It pulls out all the the junk.
but it has
Not
to-
that any of my followers post junk or people I'm following, but it really just pulls in like stories and links and things.
But that's
what I love.
But that's I think the problem with pulling in those feeds is you can't control the source, and it's not sort of there's no sort of I'm air quoting, there's no sort of editor to it. So while you probably follow under your Just Edelstein account, you probably follow mostly cloud computing technology based people
And some sports people.
So I do too, but then it's, again, if I'm reading about Salesforce stuff, I don't want all of a sudden to see Braylon Edwards tweeting about going to a restaurant. Like that, to me, it kind of breaks my concentration of what I'm focusing in on. So I like this. I was reading last night, and the thing I thought about at the end of while reading, I spent 30 minutes like really reading through these articles. It does the whole thing. It pops up in front of you. You can retweet them. You can post them to Facebook. You can kind of share the love. So it's Zeit, Z-I-T-E. It's called the Zeit Personalized Magazine for iPad. They might have other versions for other things, but the link will be in the show notes, of course. And it's free and pretty cool, and you should try it. Everybody should try it. So that's it. That's the end of the podcast. We made a lot out of a little. And now, if you want to find out more, read a blog post. We're not talking about a blog post this week or last week. They're there. One by me and one by newest member of Arkus. Should be up shortly. That's at blog.arkusinc.com. You can subscribe by RSS or on your Flipboard. Yes, you can. I don't know. It's not that easy, but actually, I don't know how easy it is.
I don't know either.
I think if you just go into Flipboard and you say add new source and you type in blog.arkusinc.com, it'll pick up the RSS feed.
Hopefully.
So put that into your Flipboard, and then you can read all the articles. Follow the company at twitter.com/ArkusInc. Me at twitter.com/JasonMAtwood. I only tweet really great stuff. Justin at twitter.com/JustEdelstein. And we're on Facebook, the company, facebook.com/ArkusInc. Start to know these places because we're going to start to do some contests about them later as we get closer towards Dreamforce. And then for the podcast, of course, go to iTunes, search for CloudFocus Weekly, click subscribe, and you're good to go. And while you're there, leave a nice review. We would love that. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Until then, enjoy those cloudy days.